Chapter 108. The Secret Worth 100 Spirit Stones 1. In an instant, the two of them mirrored each other outside the gambling house. Xu Qing circulated the sea transformation art and mountains and seas art in his body at the same time. He was prepared to end the battle quickly, so he used his full strength and punched. Amidst the rumbling sounds, the fatty's body trembled and his expression clearly changed. Clearly, he had misjudged Xu Qing's strength earlier. At this moment, when he came into contact with Xu Qing, he immediately sensed the terrifying power coming from Xu Qing's body. He abruptly retreated. However, his speed was still slower compared to Xu Qing. In the blink of an eye, Xu Qing's fist landed on his stomach. The fatty's body shook, but he didn't retreat from the impact. Instead, he turned into a piece of skin like he had hollowed out his insides and moved towards Xu Qing. The fatty's skin was very large and wide, covering everything like an octopus. It was about to wrap around Xu Qing. Xu Qing frowned slightly. A large number of water droplets instantly appeared outside his body, and rapidly transformed into rhombuses that shot out like arrows, piercing through the skin with popping sounds. A sinister figure crawled out of the tattered skin and retreated. It was a humanoid creature covered in mucus. Its hair was green, and its body was covered in scales. Its eyes revealed a ferocious glint, and a forked tongue protruded from its sharp fangs. It cast a deep glance at Xu Qing but didn't continue attacking. Instead, it tried to flee. Xu Qing coldly stared at it and waved his right hand. A water curtain appeared out of thin air and blocked the non-human cultivator. This caused the non-human cultivator to have no choice but to step back a little, and the viciousness in its eyes grew even more intense. 1. You're courting death. Then an human cultivator charged towards Xu Qing. It waved its hands and a large amount of black gas drifted out, forming resentful spirits that let out mournful cries as they pounced towards Xu Qing. Xu Qing's face was expressionless. The Chan blood in his body spread out, and an even more mournful cry rang out from the mouths of those resentful spirits. After the spirits were dispersed, Xu Qing took a step forward and arrived in front of the non-human cultivator whose expression had completely changed. He then grabbed forward. This non-human cultivator's breathing became hurry, and its eyes revealed madness. At this moment of crisis, all the scales on its body fell off at the same time and swept towards Xu Qing like a storm of sharp blades. After doing this, it actually didn't flee. Instead, it viciously stabbed towards Xu Qing's neck with its sharp fingernails. Die. However, in the next instant, the non-human cultivator's eyes narrowed abruptly, revealing disbelief and horror. Xu Qing didn't care about his scale storm at all. No matter how the scales attacked, it couldn't stop his unstoppable palm. It directly penetrated the scale vortex and grabbed the non-human cultivator's hand. With a cracking sound, it was broken ruthlessly, causing it to twist exaggeratedly. His body took advantage of the momentum to move closer, and his forehead ruthlessly smashed into the head of the non-human cultivator. A blood-curdling screech rang out. The non-human cultivator wanted to retreat, but its hand was grabbed by Xu Qing. The feeling of being clamped by iron pincers caused its breathing to become hurried. It was extremely terrified but was unable to break free no matter what it did. Fellow Taoist, I am. Before it could finish speaking, Xu Qing calmly twisted its hand again and forced its sharp fingers to pierce into its brow. The sound of bones and flesh breaking rang out. The non-human cultivator let out a cry of despair. Its voice was extremely miserable, and its eyes revealed intense fear. However, its body structure was different from humans, so this wasn't fatal to it. However, it was still heavily injured. As its blood continued to flow out, its aura rapidly weakened till it fainted. Xu Qing grabbed it by the neck and dragged it into the distance. The gambling den was completely silent. Regardless of the gamblers or guards, all of them were trembling at this moment. The sounds of Xu Qing and Sun Duong fighting earlier were very loud and had attracted their attention. However, Xu Qing's attacks were too ruthless and the entire battle finished too quickly. This was especially so after they recognized the identity of the non-human cultivator outside. After realizing how powerful he was, they became even clearer about how terrifying Xu Qing was. No one dared to speak. Amidst the suffocating atmosphere, Xu Qing, who was about to walk away, suddenly stopped in his tracks and looked into the distance. On the empty and pitch-black street, in the distance, a person walked over. As he got closer and stepped into the area, illuminated by the lights outside the gambling house, his figure became clearer. A light purple Taoist robe gradually entered Xu Qing's vision. Xu Qing's eyes narrowed. The person in front was a youth with long black hair. He had an extraordinary appearance, a tall and slender figure. The arrogance in his walk and expression was obvious. In particular, his Taoist robe revealed his high status. There was also the 8th level check condensation fluctuation of the sea transformation art on his body, causing a large number of water droplets to form in the surroundings. Every single drop carried sharpness as they locked onto Xu Qing. Which division of the homicide department are you from? Let him go, and I can pretend I didn't see this. The person's words were cold and unquestionable. Xu Qing fell silent. He had seen this youth before. Some time ago, when he was on his first patrol with his team captain, he had seen the scene of the youth walking among the crowd like a god that had descended to the mortal world. He knew very well that this person was a core disciple of the 7th peak. Xu Qing frowned slightly. Although he had made some arrangements previously to prevent any accidents, they would probably not be of much use against a core disciple. Xu Qing felt that it wasn't worth it to have a conflict with a core disciple for 40 spirit stones unless the benefits were greater.